What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a post-fight video for you guys. Devon Alexander versus Timothy Bradley. Matchup ended in a technical decision due to headbutts. Alexander couldn't continue. But overall, wasn't necessarily the most exciting fight, but a very tactical bout. And that's just how it played out. I got a lot of emails and messages saying, "Oh, Julian, this was a disappointing fight." But what do you expect out of this type of match? You got two young fighters, two tacticians in the ring, and you got one guy who is willing to go all out, go in and try to trade, and you got another fighter who's on retreat and kind of looking for the one big shot to change the fight, because it was a matchup that could have changed with one blow. But overall, I'm not gonna turn around and say it was a disappointing fight. It played out the way I expected to play out. Play out the way that it kind of looked like on paper. On paper, it did look like stylistically, it did look like somewhat similar to a Leonard Hagler from '87. Looks similar to that. Like if you look at the styles involved, like Marvin Hagler was a southpaw. He was facing a orthodox fighter that had good hand speed and good leg speed, but Bradley, doesn't is no Sugar Ray Leonard. Doesn't move around. Doesn't throw. He does throw flurries, but he wasn't able to really get off or capitalize using them because he knew how dangerous Devon Alexander would be if he got too aggressive, and he didn't get what I call lead foot in the ring. When he gets in, he gets too aggressive. But the breakdown from round to round, first round, very tactical round. Both fighters, typical first round, feeling each other out, and Bradley, really what you saw in the first round was a lot of block jabs, a lot of block jabs. Bradley came in and he came in with a flurry, and that basically just won him around that aggressive flurry, though it didn't really land on Alexander. That big flurry towards the end of one pretty much gave Bradley the first round. Second round I did give to Alexander. Alexander landed the more clean shots, the more effective shots, the more just the more compact shots. So I did give that round to Alexander. He threw a lot more. Was more aggressive in that round. He was kind of looking for put his shots together very well in that round. And it seemed as if he was kind of looking for the uppercut, but he didn't have it. Third round did give to Bradley. Bradley pretty much in that round started to kind of come forward and started to pressure Alexander a lot more, made the ring a lot smaller, and was just the aggressor in that round. So I did give that third round to Bradley. Fourth round, actually gave the fourth round to Alexander. Same reason as the second round. Alexander was aggressive. He was aggressive. He threw some flurries. They didn't really land, but he threw a lot more. I think he outlanded Bradley in that round as well, if I'm not mistaken. But he threw more shots though. But so I think that Alexander, he was the busier fighter. I gave him round four. Round five and six I gave to Bradley. Coming forward, was aggressive. He was getting off. He started to get off first. He started to jab a lot, and try to set up some hard shots. I think it was round five when Bradley landed the big right hand on Alexander. In round six was the same thing. Bradley coming forward, Alexander kind of just retreating. He was making Alexander fight. He was making Alexander throw, even though Alexander was thrown. Had a big output in these rounds. Bradley was landing. I believe he was landing more. Five, I believe, was probably his best round. Bradley's best round as far as punch stats go, despite the fact that punch stats can be very deceiving. But Bradley was more effective. He was coming forward in these rounds, so I gave 5 and 6 to Bradley. 7 I gave to Alexander. I gave 7 to Alexander basically because Bradley kind of just stopped fighting. He kind of stood there and kind of shelled up towards the round. And Devon Alexander did the right thing and took advantage of Timothy Bradley in that shell. So Timothy Bradley lost that round to Devon Alexander. And the rest of the fight I gave to Bradley. Bradley, I think, did enough in these rounds to win the match. But I did think that possibly that in round 10 Devon Alexander he might come on a little bit more. Maybe maybe look for some harder shots, but the headbutts. Like if you look at the styles involved though, with Timothy Bradley, and I didn't mention this in my prediction video, there was a 95% chance that Devon Alexander was going to be headbutted coming into this fight. And when you look at southpaw fighter, orthodox fighter, last few opponents, ever since Edner Cherry, Timothy Bradley has headbutted practically all of his opponents, whether it be accidental or intentional. He's headbutted everybody, whether it be a southpaw orthodox fighter. His last few opponents have been, I'm not sure. I think Kendall Holt might have been a southpaw. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think Kendall Holt's a southpaw, but either way, I don't remember a headbutt in that fight, April 4th of '09. But I do remember headbutting the Edner Cherry fight. I remember a headbutt. We all remember the headbutt in the Nate Campbell fight. And honestly, was there a headbutt in Pearson? I don't want to think that far back anyway. That's besides the point. But Bradley does, it was a 95% chance that Devon Alexander was going to get headbutted. It was a pretty much guarantee that Devon Alexander was going to be headbutted. There's a lot of clinching from Alexander. A lot of missed punches and a lot of holding. I was texting Suds during the fight. We were talking about the same thing. Suds had the fight score a lot differently than I did, I believe. But he was talking about a lot of misses and a lot of holding from Alexander. And I guess that's a tactical thing to do against a Timothy Bradley. Is whether you're missing your shots, hold him so he doesn't get an offensive rhythm. Neither fighter was able to get a real offensive rhythm going in this matchup. When you look at it, there's a lot of misses, there's a lot of block punches, a lot of, quite a bit of clinching. But overall, I'm not going to complain about this fight. I'm not going to call it disappointing. It was pretty much what we expected it to be, or what it seems to be on paper. Two young fighters, very offensively sound, pretty good technically, very good tactically. This is what you get. This is the matchup you get. I'm not going to complain about the fight. But anyway, guys, that was the distance. Be back. I'll be back all this week. So anyway, guys, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.